Good morning, everyone. My name is Miss Robinson, and today I will be demonstrating how to make two different styles of books that you can use as a base for your bookmaking project. You can choose between either of them for your final project, so you do have that option. One of the artists I would like to highlight today is Timothy Ellie, who is an American book artist and painter. Feel free to rewind and pause the video if you would like to take a closer look at any of these artworks. All you will need today is two 8.5 by 11-inch sheets of copy paper, a ruler. It is okay if it is smaller than your sheet of paper, but please don't go too large. You will need an X-Acto knife. Make sure that it is sharp and make sure that you are careful when using it. And an optional tool is a bone folder. So you do not need this, but it is used to help get really clean creases. So you can totally skip this step and just use your fingers and it will work fine, but if you do happen to have something like this, then feel free to use it. So what we're going to be doing first is finding the grain of your paper. It doesn't matter too much with a sheet as thin as this, but if you are going to be using a thicker piece of paper for your final project, you will want to know what the grain of the paper is so that you won't accidentally tear the paper fibers whenever you fold against the grain. So the easiest way to do this is to take one side of the paper and fold it over. Don't actually crease it, just measure the resistance you're getting. And then go to the other side and do the same thing. And this side, you can't really tell by looking through the camera, but it is giving me much more resistance than the other side. So I know that the grain is going this way. So if this was a more thick piece of paper, I would just be more wary whenever I have to fold vertically rather than horizontally, because that would be against the grain. So the first style of book I'll be demonstrating today is what's called an instant book. So let's just get started. First, you'll want to fold it in half, making sure that the edges, that the corners are matching together. Take your time with this, there is no rush. And then you're going to put pressure with this hand on that side, and you're just going to crease starting from the middle and going outward. And once you have that initial crease, you can use your bone folder if you have one and really set that crease in there. You can also just continuously go over it with your fingers and that will give you the same effect. So then you will fold it over and fold it in half a second time. Again, making sure to match the corners together. And then you're going to flip it over again and rotate it and fold it once more. And it creates this sort of small pamphlet looking thing. And once we're done with that, we're going to unfold it and rotate it to where it is vertical and fold it in half once more. If this is folding against the grain on a thicker piece of paper, you just want to be very careful that you don't accidentally tear the paper fibers when folding. So now that we have everything folded, we're going to take our ruler and place it right here. So we're going to be making a cut from this fold all the way down to this corner, right down the middle. So we're going to make sure that this is flush against the side and take our X-Acto knife and be very careful. And we're going to make a slit from that corner to this corner. It's okay if it doesn't cut completely through the first time, just go over it again and put the cap on the X-Acto knife after you use it. So that creates this neat little slit right in the middle. So folding it up might be a little bit difficult if it's your first time doing it. I still have trouble sometimes. So what you're going to do is you fold it in half, and then these two slits will fold outwards. So they naturally want to fold inwards, you just have to give them a little bit of guidance. And they will fold like that. And they will create this cute little book. And you can use your bone folder or your fingers and make that crease there so it's easier for the book to keep its shape. And there you have it. That is what's called an instant book. Pretty quick and easy. So the second book that I'm going to show you how to make is called a Boosterfeeden. The initial folding process is exactly the same, so I'm going to go through that really quickly. So this is where it differs from the instant book. We will be making 2 more folds vertically. So I'm gonna fold this in half again, matching up the corners. And flip it over and do that again, creating this sort of long pamphlet. When you open that up, it has a lot more sections. And what we're going to be doing with the cutting is going to put our ruler up against it flush, and we're going to be cutting from this corner all the way down. So we will take our X-Acto knife and gently swipe it down. We're going to flip the paper over and repeat the process with the next fold. And one last time, do that with the final fold. Put the cap right back on and just begin to fold where the folds naturally want to take you. And once you get to this point, you will actually fold against the grain and then continue on just like that. Give it a good little crease. And your Boosterfeeden book is complete. It's a lot smaller, but it does have a lot more pages. So depending on what you want to do for the content of your book, you will choose between either this smaller book with more pages or the larger book with few pages, which is the instant book and the Boosterfeeden. This is an example of what the Boosterfeeden looks like with a cover. This is what we're going to be covering next week. And I also have an example of the instant book with a cover. So there we have it. That is the end of our demonstration for this week. Next week we will be covering how to make a cover for your books and discussing what the content will be for your art books. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next week.